Okay, I'm working in the jungle, which is the end of August, these latitudes, with all the Himalayan balsam. And I'm making some anti-pest frames. So I've got a length of 6mm rod marked out at just over a metre, which I think is the sort of size of the netting, but I'm going to put it, it pulls a little bit more than the metre, so I'm making it a bit more, and I'm just making a frame outlet here and trying to make that reasonably square, and continue around and use as much bending as I can and minimise the amount of welding. 200mm, it's 600mm, 2 feet in width, and again I'm just bending the frame around to make as much of the complete circumference for the bottom as I possibly can. I mean, all these things could be cut and welded, but it's easier just to bend. I mean, you're not going to get quite the same size of a bend, sort of squareness of a bend you can get with welding, but I don't really care about that. I just really want a frame that can hold the netting. So I'll work on that. Then this end's got to be bent round as much as I can. There's going to be short, so I'm going to have to weld in a piece to make up the difference. So those are the 2 frames I've made at the moment. There is a bit of a out of frame, out of plane situation here, so I'm sort of bend it a little bit like that and try and get it as best I can to be in plane. It doesn't really matter that much, it's just pleasing if you can get it to look right. Anyway, onto the welding. The procedure here is now just to weld up the steel to make a frame. So I'm not really the greatest TIG welder in the world, but I've made these. This is my first complete frame. I'm on with the second frame here. So in this case, there's a little shortage, so I had to cut a piece of steel to fit in here, then that will be welded to there to form the second side. Put the vertical, what actually will be horizontal when the thing's finished. I'm just using a laboratory stand, one essentially I modified myself. I just bought this clamp off a car boot sale, and then that goes into my stand here and holds it. So that holds the thing in place while I do the welding. It seems to be working quite well. I've not mastered TIG welding, but it's not falling apart, which will do for this application. So in terms of covering it with a netting, just put the frame just over the side here with enough so you can bend it over, and that will then provide enough of a resistance. We're only fighting sort of animals here, we're not fighting chimpanzees or people or anything like that. So a fairly simple thing like that will hopefully hold it all in place. And then once that side has been done, then we can pull the entire roll over the machine and over the cage and then down the other side, and then do the same thing again, having cut it to length. The thing to length, then just use a pair of cutters to cut the amount of mesh needed for this particular anti-pest arrangement all the way along, and then fix that. Now shows the cage complete apart from the ends have got to be done. There's no wire at the moment on the ends, but that's the sides and the top done. So we do the same sort of procedure to cover the ends. And there's the cage dropped around some kale. It's not, the ground's got to be prepared yet for them. It's not been prepared properly, but at least the kale is out of danger of being eaten by anything. And then I can get the ground prepared and the kale can go in, but at the moment they're safer protected against whatever comes at them.